just gives Democrats what they've been hoping for a very long time, Chinese communist-style governance.
Yeah.
The party decides.
I would pay $1,000.
Did you see his little thing today, Walls? It was from the past where he says, well, you know, free speech and all, but misinformation cannot be tolerated.
That clip, that 7-second clip, was Wall saying that you can't lie about where ballot boxes are, which, by the way, is a crime in the United States of America. You're not allowed to do that. You can't actually do that. They're talking about this clip.
They're literally Marxists. It's MAGA versus Marxism.
Kamala Harris surges ahead of Trump in national and electoral college polling. Poli-sci professor told SCNR Biden shows clear signs of aging. The public viewed him as too old to be effective. Kamala Harris does not have this problem. And Frank Luntz has predicted that Kamala Harris right now would win, saying, make no mistake, Trump's advantage with the Republican convention after that ended is gone. It's wiped away. And if the election were held today, I actually believe that Harris would beat Trump. That's how much things have changed over the last 2 weeks. Harris leads Trump by 0.5 point in the RCP polling average. And
Uh-oh. Tim is not going to be happy about this. Hold on.
in several key battleground states have the two essentially tied. Luntz also pointed out, with a little more than 3 months to go before the November 5th election, the contest is up for grabs. I would also add that the the betting markets are favoring Kamala Harris in the swing states. So, guys, you know, you better go register voters. You better do everything you have to do. Otherwise, I hate to break it to you.
You better do what do you mean you better do? Wait, I thought he was an epic centrist. He wouldn't be like supporting one candidate over the other. No? What does he mean by do everything you have to do? For what?
Go register voters. You better do everything you have to do. Otherwise, I hate to break it to you. You're going to have a president with no campaign policies or policy positions who was installed and not a single person voted for. This would be the...
How do you, I'm sorry, I'm genuinely asking because I'm confused. If nobody votes for her, how does she become president again? Does he think that she's going to do like the Trump plan of like trying to just like rig the election, or how does she become president if nobody votes for her? When does that happen? What stage of the electoral process?
Policies or policy positions who was installed and not a single person voted for. This would be the end of the republic. And I'm not trying to be cute. I am saying if Kamala Harris wins, it will be, I believe it will be the first anti-pop.
I know he's referring to the primaries, you retardedly dense morons. I'm just saying she can't become president without votes in the general election. You retards. Jesus Christ.
Popular president without any mandate from the masses in any way. Because we can anti-popular president. I believe it will be the first anti-popular president without any mandate from the masses.
From the masses? Have you seen what Republicans look like when it comes to the popular vote? What are you talking about? What was the last Republican to win the popular vote? Was it Reagan? Did Reagan win the popular vote? Did Bush Sr. win the popular vote? When did last Republican president win popular vote? It might have been... Oh, Bush won it in 2004. Okay, we got that, at least. Did Bush win it in 2000, or did... No, he didn't. I think he lost it in 2000.
In any way, because we can go back and we can look at, Gerald Ford, for instance, right? He became president because of, JFK was never elected. He was VP. He wasn't under JFK, was he? No. Lyndon Johnson was.
Elected.
No. How did Gerald Ford become president?
I think he was a VP first.
I don't think he got elected.
A little bit, right? A little bit. A little bit.
Elected.
Look it up. The president got assassinated, I believe, and then he was a VP.
No, I think it was Nixon resigned, then Ford had to step up. It was Nixon.
You're right. Nixon resigned, and Gerald Ford becomes president. But this is a standard process. This is a guy who actually campaigned on a ticket with Nixon. They won. He gets elected, and then he fulfills his duty. If Kamala Harris gets elected president, it will be the first president who is installed by a party without a mandate from the masses and has no policies for the country.
What are we even talking about? What?
Yeah.
No mandate from the country.
I think
You can't win an election without. Does Tim Pool know? What? This whole coup angle that they're obsessed with is so f***ing cringe. Oh my god, it's actually so stupid. Oh my god.
Democrats were extremely shrewd how they played this past 2 crazy months of a news and political cycle. They did it extremely effectively and kind of stole a lot of momentum that the Republicans had going into their convention. So we had the Trump assassination attempt. That was probably the day where Trump was most popular. And the coming days after that, with all of the people coming together, this was after the Joe Biden debate where Joe Biden performed extremely poorly. Trump was getting that boost from the convention. But this was all while behind the scenes, the Democrats were replacing Joe Biden, and that was exciting and motivating so many of those Democrats. And now we're seeing that boost after.
Notice how all the good things about Trump are just things that happened to Trump or around him that he cited. It's not anything Trump's actually doing, right? It wasn't Trump's stellar debate performance. It was Biden's horrible debate performance, right? It wasn't Trump's stellar rally. It was the fact that some retarded Republican dude fucking shot at Trump, right? It's just things that are happening around. It was like, oh, Trump is amazing. Like, bro, my God.
After Joe Biden is being replaced on the ticket by Kamala Harris.
They had to wait till after the campaign because that way Trump was locked into a VP pick. All the excitement for Trump was, the big events were over, right? The RNC's arguably the biggest event that ended. So now
What happened to his huge rallies? I thought Trump's rallies were legendary. Who cares about some cringe RNC event when Trump could be holding 1 million supporter rallies like every single fucking week? No, I thought that was.
Drop the bomb. We're going to put Kamala in. And now all the momentum, the traditional momentum is with her. You have the DNC next. It's going to be a vibes and worship fest. They're going to have every celebrity. You're probably going to drag Taylor Swift out of Vienna if they don't blow her up.
I thought celebrity endorsements didn't matter now. I thought we were over that. I thought we don't care about those anymore.
And she's going to go and do
unless we can wheel out Ted Nugent in his fucking, in his actual wheelchair as he's dying to come out and suck off the fucking Republicans. Oh no, we have Hulk Hogan now. We don't need him anymore. Sorry.
Republicans hit their stride too early with
it was the only way the media could turn the news cycle, right?
And they did a great job
Joe
of
Biden out because after that 10-day period, let's say, like the pressure was already on after the debate. That late June debate, Joe Biden was looking so weak, but he was not willing to go. Every day after the assassination attempt, going into the RNC, that you got these stronger images of Trump. Not just the standing up on the stage and like putting his fist up and that like swell of USA chanting, him coming to the RNC with the bandage on his ear, like all of the things that happened there, the moments that he had with Corey Compatore's uniform jacket, like these were...
Oh my God, it's so cringe.
I think really big moments for the country that I think could have been
big moments for the country because your retarded, fat fucking orange loser president got shot at by an incel fucking loser Republican. Why? How are these unifying moments for the country? Oh my God! Wow, retarded fucking firefighter stood up trying to capture him on his iPhone and got blasted. Come on, dude. These are unifying moments for the country? Give me a break.
And points of unity, and the Democrats knew there was no way for them to message and say like, yes, we need to turn down political rhetoric or political tensions because they need that. That's the only way they can compel their voters out of.
Yeah, if I think of the party that runs on fear, it's definitely the Democrats, I would say. The ones that talk about how all of your kids are being turned trans, all of the caravans coming to the border are going to invade and destroy you, all of the countries don't respect us anymore, they're going to start bombing everybody because the world is falling apart, all of the economy is going to hell in a handbasket constantly because inflation is destroying us, the COVID vaccines by Bill Gates are trying to inject microchips into you, the lockdowns are going to take away your freedoms forever and everybody has vaccine passports forever, that the election was rigged and the Democrats are trying to steal everything from you and your whole country. Yes, Democrats are definitely the ones that run on fear here. Absolutely.
Their whole thing is Trump is Hitler.
It was huge momentum for the Republicans based off those 3 events: the debates, the assassination attempt, then the convention. And the Democrats stole all of that thunder by having the biggest news story of the past decade, probably, of a presumptive nominee being swapped out. And then the focus became Kamala Harris following that. And it's been Kamala Harris since then. Yeah. So obviously we have more time.
It added so much pressure to Biden. The only thing that they could do was get him to drop out and to put Kamala in charge to regain control of the news cycle. Otherwise, all we would have been talking about to this day, like how we haven't talked about the FBI's, conversations about Thomas Crooks. We haven't talked about this in a long time because they have been able to single-handedly say, we're talking about Kamala now.
They
Nothing
set
else
the
matters.
news cycle, and they do a great job of it. And now Kamala's the only topic of conversation.
The Democrats are
Someone who
so
has no
excited.
policies.
Oh my God, no policy. Now we care about policy? Now policy is... When was the last time Trump has ever spoken about policy?
No
It's the top.
policy and was hated. Remember
It's all
that.
vibes. It's all vibes and what she represents.
All vibes, like when you say, why do you like Trump? And they're like, I don't know, man. He just owns the liberals.
As a black woman, as a woman of color, and the Democrats are hitting their stride. Kamala Harris is gaining all the momentum right now because the Democrats felt like they were in a rut. They felt like they were screwed over by Joe Biden. They were burdened by him. He was a ball and chain to them.
Now
they feel like they are just unburdened by Joe Biden, and they have a candidate who in their eyes thinks represents their voters and helps represents the issues that they're focused
And
on.
that's
i.e.
why she
abortion.
doesn't want a debate.
And that's why the Democrats are hitting their stride. And that's why Frank Luntz is saying, it looks like Harris might have the...
Well, and you
election
had an
coming up.
interesting interview because you were at the rally.
Oh my God, look, I just realized. I think they use an auto switcher too. Notice how it's always like half a second or a quarter second people are speaking before it switches over to them?
That I liked with there.
Harris might have the hitting their stride, and that's
why she doesn't want a debate.
And that's why the
What do you mean that's why she doesn't want to debate? Trump was the one that was dodging them. How could you say that? How are they 180ing that? What the fuck?
Democrats are hitting their stride, and that's why Frank Luntz is saying, it looks like Harris might have the...
Well, and you
election
had an
coming up.
interesting interview because you were at the rally that I liked with there was a guy that you spoke to, and he said like, why do you support Kamala? And he was like, oh, well, I think it's really important that we have the first female black president. And I think that's a good idea. And you kind of pushed him on it. You were like, hey man, what does that mean? Can you...
To be fair, she rejected 2 debates. Trump only rejected 1. So you're permabanned, number 1. Number 2, she agreed immediately to the debate that they had already signed up for. The only ones that she quote unquote rejected were when Trump was trying to say, I'm not going to do that one, but let's do 2 in like Fox News instead. No, it's not even remotely close. Nice try though, shill.
Can you explain that to me a
I
little
hope
bit?
you're getting paid for your fucking propaganda work in my chat, okay? By either Trump's campaign or at least the Kremlin,
I think
okay?
that's a good idea.
Get the
And you
fuck
kind
outta
of
here.
pushed him on it. You were like, hey man, what does that mean? Can you explain that to me a little bit more? Like, why is this important? And it sort of was nothing. Like, it was just, well, it's important that people feel represented.
It's like,
not
if a
important.
woman becomes president...
The argument is Trump has policies: stronger economy, reducing immigration, lowering the interest rates, reducing the inflation, more jobs. But half of those aren't policies, they're goals. Okay, the other half are things that he can't do. Lowering the interest rates and reducing inflation, that's the Federal Reserve, my friend. The president doesn't get to turn the dial up and down on the interest rates.
And therefore,
think they
we've
can.
overcome all the bigotry towards women.
No,
If a black person becomes president, the country's no longer racist, which can't be true because Obama was president and Democrats still say our country's racist. So
Oh my, I like how we just saw in real time. Wait, where's the... We just watched this guy in the course of like 5 seconds construct a statement that no Democrat has ever said and then destroy the statement while molding about it at the same time.
People feel represented.
it's
not
like, if a
important.
woman becomes president, therefore,
think they
we've
can.
overcome all the bigotry towards women.
No,
If a black
no.
person becomes president, the country's no longer racist.
Who said that on the Democratic side ever? Well, who ever says this? You're creating a straw man that nobody says.
Which can't be true because Obama was president and Democrats still say our country's racist. So no matter what we do, we're
never
tarnished by the poison of racism, even if, well, I guess he was only half. And
What do you? Which court case did Trump's appeal to immunity come from? What was the venue? I believe that was Trump v. Anderson, I think. No, that's not true. It was Trump v. United States is where that came from.
it wouldn't work with Kamala. 'Cause
Kamala's
she's
less
also
than
only
half. Kamala's less than half. She's like, no, there's nothing there. And she specifically says, so this whole thing about the first black female president, you got to ask these black voters, what has Kamala said she's going to do for the black community? She literally laughed at that question. She laughs at everything, so that's not the biggest deal. But she laughed and said, well, I'm going to just focus on things that are good for all the people, which is a right answer, right? That's the right answer technically. That's not the answer that people want to hear.
Many black voters are mostly
There's
concerned
no black
with
agenda.
representation.
There's no black agenda.
And whatever the Democrats are doing, they're clear.
Black voters are concerned with representation. I thought you said Trump was doing so well with black voters, though. So when black voters pick Trump, it's because they're smart and based and they know what's good for the country. But when they pick Kamala, they just care about her because she's black. But I thought she wasn't actually black. I thought Kamala wouldn't be representation for black voters because she's not really black. She's Jamaican or whatever the So what is it? We've got like a foot in 3 different worlds at the same time.
Clearly doing it the right way, and they're very effective at it with the black community.
Yeah.
And
the only
whatever they're
message-
doing an effective job at dominating the black community.
It's just terror. It's terror. They're terrifying them.
To an
That's all it
outrageous
is.
degree. I think Joe Biden won next to 90%, something close to 90% of the black vote. The numbers that almost sound ridiculous, sound outlandish,
I thought Trump was so good with minority voters, though. What happened? Why is the narrative on this changing? What's going on?
made up. So
Well, they convinced them Trump's a racist. They say, and then the Project 2025. Nobody even knows what that means anymore. That's just thrown out at any, oh yeah, well, things are going to be bad. Project 2025. Nobody knows what's
on
in
Project 2025, Democrats might not know what's in it, but they fearmonger about it very
That's all they do.
effectively. I spoke to many people yesterday at Kamala Harris's Philadelphia rally where I wouldn't mention it, they would mention it as one of their biggest concerns. So it is sort of the Democrats' DEI or CRT from past elections, if you will. It's become the new.
Oh, I like that he draws the comparison himself so that we don't have to say it. Wow, they're all fearmonger over things. They don't know what it is. Like when you guys talk about literally everything relating to Marxism or postmodern Marxism or CRT or DEI. Okay, cool, nice, based.
Scapegoat phrase to attack.
Yeah.
When there isn't.
Is that what it is? Wait, did he just say the quiet part out loud? So DEI and CRT were just scapegoat phrases to attack? Is that...
Wouldn't mention it, they would mention it as one of their biggest concerns. So it is sort of the Democrats' DEI or CRT from past elections, if you will. It's become the new scapegoat phrase to attack when there isn't something.
And we can't win on that. We can't win on talking about Project 2025. We just can't. We have to get it back to the issues, and we will.
Oh, what are the issues? Hold on, that was funny. We can't talk about Project 2025, which is like a comprehensive 900-page actual policy shit laid out, okay? We have to get back to the issues. All right. Play the when he says get back to the real issues, is it going to be A, coup attempt, B, trans Olympians, C, Democrats want open borders, or D, what other stupid culture wars issues do they? Or D, all of them?
I think we will. As soon as she has to debate him, it's going to be pretty different.
Maybe Trump will deal a second knockout blow to the next. We'll see who's up after Kamala.
She won't.
They're going to swap Kamala out after the next debate.
The same thing she did tonight, which is to go, I'm speaking. She's going to wait for...
If she does,
She's going to have a female.
They're going to bring up an
if she
issue.
does
Hold on, it's
angry
coming.
black woman at the debate,
They're going to bring up an issue. Hold on, it's coming.
not a Medea.
We need to get back to what?
It's not going to work.
You say that, but the media will praise her.
The media will.
This with Pence, right? I'm speaking.
I'm speaking.
I'm speaking.
And the media loved it, but it doesn't come off well. It just doesn't come off well. You're talking about middle American votes. You're talking about votes in the Midwest.
None of this matters.
It's not going to work.
None of that matters. Ballot harvesting matters.
It's true.
The voter... What, did I say voter fraud? Did I mention voter fraud? I forgot they could bring that one up again. I don't remember if I said that or not. That was the answer. It was voter fraud.
Not gonna
No!
work.
None of that matters. Ballot harvesting matters.
These are the real issues. The real issues is that the 2020 election was stolen. Oh, it was E. Oh, no.
It's true. It's who counts these votes. It's really all it is.
Oh, wait, I said coup attempt. Does that... No. I was referring to the Democratic coup attempt, not the fake Republican one, the real Democrat one.
saw a ballot box in D.C. today. Why do we still have ballot boxes? We don't have COVID anymore. Why do we still have these things? Like, and we've done nothing about election integrity. With that being said, I still think we win it. I really do. I still think Trump wins this. But we've got to get smart. And once we're in, we've got to use every bit of that power for these 4 years to hold back what they're trying to do to us. Because God knows if she gets in, she's not Joe Biden. This woman is going to have a competent team.
I thought that Joe Biden was supposed to destroy America. I feel like we're doing okay. No?
And she is going to push the most radical agenda that anyone in this country can even conceive of.
You know that you need like Congress to vote on things, right? Like the president can't do it alone, right? Like it takes the other people. There's like the other branches of government, the legislative one in particular.
And if we don't push back in the 4 years that we may get now, we're going to have nothing by the time.
Well, I mean, if an installed candidate ends up winning, it just gives Democrats what they've been hoping for a very long time, Chinese communist-style governance.
Yeah.
The party decides.
I would pay $1,000 to have a seat where Tim Pool describes comprehensively. I just want a 1 hour presentation of Tim Pool compares and contrasts a Kamala Harris administration with the current Chinese communist style of government. I would just love to see that presentation. I would pay $1,000 to sit and listen. I would love to hear this.
What they've been hoping for a very long time, Chinese communist-style governance.
Yeah.
The party decides who's going to lead the country, and everyone else just falls in line or else.
And did you see his little thing today, Walls? It was from the past where he says, well, free speech and all, but misinformation cannot be tolerated, and disinformation cannot be tolerated. They're literally Marxists. It's MAGA.
Oh, wait, hold on.
And this says, or else. And did you see his little thing today, Walls? It was from the past where he says, well, free speech and all, but misinformation cannot be tolerated.
That clip, that 7-second clip, I think I got greenwalled on this because he was spreading this too. That 7-second clip that they're talking about was Wall saying that you can't lie about where ballot boxes are, which, by the way, is a crime in the United States of America. You're not allowed to do that. You can't actually do that. They're talking about this clip.
I think we need to push back on this. There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
He's not talking about misinformation and hate speech. He's talking about lying about where ballot boxes are and voter intimidation. That's what he's talking about.
One of the things that I've learned in studying all of this of democracy modernization is that the more people that participate, the extremes of parties go down because you want to get all the voters.
Exactly
and I think
right.
that what you're putting down is absolutely correct. And I want to, just before I ask you another question, I want to talk about what you just mentioned about misinformation. Because oftentimes before, in previous political chapters, disinformation, telling people where to vote the wrong way, that was these were considered shenanigans. But it's becoming more ominous. Can you talk a little bit about that and what you will do to ensure that there are penalties for that?
So the frame of the question is, it has to do with voting. It has to do with lying about voting stuff, right? Which is a crime. You're not allowed to do that.
Yeah, years ago, it was the little things, telling people to vote the day after the election. And, we kind of brushed them off. Now we know it's intimidation at the ballot box. It's undermining the idea that mail-in ballots aren't legal. I think we need to push back on this. There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy. Tell the truth where the voting places are, who can vote, who's able to be there. And watching some states continue to weaken the protections around the ballot, I think is what inspiring us to lean into this. Again,
He's talking about voter intimidation, and he's talking about ballot boxes. He's talking about lying about stuff relating to voting, which is a crime. Nothing in here is about curtailing your freedom of speech or making racial hate speech laws or whatever. Nothing in here has anything to do with that. There's no reading of this where that's what's happening.
The country and everyone else just falls in line or else.
And did you see his little thing today, Walls? It was from the...
How does hate speech fit into this? He's not talking about hate speech laws like racial discrimination. He's talking about voter intimidation. That's what this is about. That's what this conversation is about.
The country and everyone else just falls in line or else.
And did you see his little thing today, Walls? It was from the past where he says, well, free speech and all, but misinformation cannot be tolerated, and disinformation cannot be tolerated. They're literally Marxists. It's MAGA versus Marxism.
And he
That's
said
where we
that
are.
as a guy who was spreading misinformation about...
Oh my God, about the couch. No, not the couch. I am so happy. I am so happy that Republican snowflakedness is on full display for everybody. Okay? Destiny, but he did say hate speech. Do you know how to speak English? Listen to what he's talking about. Have you guys ever written an essay your entire life? When he says hate speech here, do you think he's talking about hate speech laws against demographics of Like racial slurs? What do you think he's talking about here? Listen to the context of the conversation.
About JD Vance and
about his own
stripping the
service
couch.
record, this psychopath.
Oh, and then they bring up the stolen valor memes.
He's a pedophile.
Super
Oh, be careful, don't die.
cynical. We're going back to this about succeeding in politics and just being as cynical as you could possibly be.
What do you think JD Vance should do on the debate stage? Because
What should JD Vance do on the debate stage?
presumably he will debate Walz.
Flaunt his record as a veteran.
How old is JD Vance? I'm going to be honest. I look at the guy, just his vibe is that of like a lost 28-year-old. I know he can't, he must be he's got to be at least 35, right, to be a candidate? He feels like a lost 28-year-old. Okay, he's 40. He was in the Marine Corps for 4 years. Which, hold on, let me be ultra clear. Hold on. Let me be ultra clear on this, all right? In whatever capacity somebody serves in the military, that's fine. There are a plethora of roles in the United States military that don't involve active combat and that don't involve deployment. The only way our military works, okay? The only way our military functions is with all of those support roles working in unity, in conjunction with the active combat roles, okay? When you see people like Russia fail to conduct military operations, when you see people like the United States steamroll other countries in military conflict, like in Iraq or in any kind of NATO mission, that's not just because we have the best combat guys, where they go bomb everything and they're so fucking strong. It's because all of the layers, all of the interwoven support, communications, all of the ISR, everything else is working. Like all of the intelligence, all of it is working, okay? As well as it can be. So don't ever make fun of somebody or shit on somebody just because they're not in an active combat role. That's ridiculous, okay? Just let me be ultra clear on that, okay? But, or it's not a but, I don't know how a guy who served for 4 years in the Marines in a combat correspondent role is going to shit on somebody that served for 25 years in the National Guard. I don't understand how you can... What is he going to say, or how are you going to shit on him from? It's just such a weird.
Presumably he will debate Walz.
Flaunt his record as a veteran as a contrast to Walz's lack of
Lack of what? Notice how he wants to say more here, but he actually has no fucking idea what he's talking about. He doesn't know what Vance's role was in the military, and he doesn't know what Walz's role was in the military. So he wanted to say more here, but then he's like, "Oh shit!" He's like, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I don't know. I don't know why the fuck I'm up here. I don't know why I'm on stage right now. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Think shit the fact that they big. They always say, I'm just big boned. Nah, bitch, you got who's that? I can't hear it up.
Is he right now?
Smith, man.
I'm your conscience.
It's a pleasure.
This is brutal.
Man, it sure did get hot in here.
This is so brutal. Oh no.
Am I fucking up right now? I'm your conscience. I really don't need to be up here right now. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking.
These brothers start making money, you can't tell them shit.
I'm your conscience.
All right.
I wish I was in a movie with Jamie.
You right about that.
48 hours.
You are right about that.
72 hours.
In fact,
I don't know.
In fact, nigga, I need a cosigner. Can you cosign on the car for me?
I just did another joke that didn't go over. I'm your conscience.
That is a brutal. That whole
veteran.
Anyway, yeah. This guy's he wants to invoke something solid here, but he has literally no idea what the fuck he's talking about.
As a contrast to Waltz's lack of not actually stolen valor, but talking up being in combat.
I think he should act like a statesman, because Walz is going to try to put on this folksy act like he's some man of the people. I think Vance needs to just literally just be very, very statesman-like.
Wait, I thought we liked man of the people. Are we not into that anymore? Did that change? I thought we liked that Trump was the everyman.
Do VPs even matter? Who gives a, nobody's getting excited over, I don't think, over JD or Waltz. It's all about Kamala and Trump.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah? You think so? Okay.
Look, Kamala's got no staying power. Waltz has got no staying power.
Oh.
JD Vance has a little bit. Trump has a lot.
Okay.
If this election were literally
If they were like, we just need more time. If it was 6 months later.
Two of them, you take 10 people, you put them in a room, you get Kamala and Waltz and Trump and Vance, and then you ask people to vote. They're voting for Trump and Vance, no question. Done. Instantly.
Okay. Gotcha. Sources. My crack pipe.
Going to be unanimous 100%.
Trump feels like a president.
This is not what the election is, okay?
Right.
The election is going to be blue areas that are in cults, red areas with
Blue areas that are in cults. Yes, that's us, by the way. That is us, by the way.
not what the election is, okay?
Right.
The election is going to be blue areas that are in cults, red areas with a lot of voters, all the same will just rubber stamp R no matter who it is. And then Democrats are like that. Okay, so that's locked. You've got D plus 30s, R plus 30s. All we got to do now is ballot harvest the rest.
True, just a little bit of voter fraud.
This election is going to come down to the infrastructure and mechanisms by which Republicans are prepared to win. That's it.
Yeah.
That's why Trump lost in 2020.
Because of the voter fraud. Now, he's not going to say voter fraud. He's going to say, well, he's saying ballot harvesting, which implies voter fraud. Okay, we 50-50'd it. Is he going to say they lost 2020 because of ballot harvesting and voter fraud, or because of the mass mail-in ballots that they should have never allowed, or because of both, because of mass mail-in ballots that were used to do voter fraud? Or is he just going to say ballot harvesting?
Because Zuckerbucks and all the rest of them had a quote-unquote shadow campaign, they called it, which was the mechanism and infrastructure by which they get more numbers than the Republicans did.
Thanks.
Once again, I didn't even consider it. Fuck, where's Josiah at? Everybody brings up this article. Nobody's ever read it before. The shadow campaign. Everybody brings this up. I've had people throw this at me before. What about this, Destiny, where they admit to voter fraud? We read this whole article on stream. I think we did on stream. Please, somebody find the VOD so Pisco doesn't accuse me of lying about reading it. This whole thing just had to do with a bunch of people that basically ensured election integrity. Like, that's it. None of this is about secret harvesting of ballots or doing any crazy vote rigging or mail-in ballot, fabrication or anything like. It was just about people that were making sure that like there were watchers, that ballots are going out as they're supposed to, doing like all the stuff that was supposed to be happening procedurally. That's all this is. I don't think anybody actually read this article. They just saw the title and it was really spooky, and then that's it.
I'm extremely nonpartisan and moderate when it comes to elections.
Yeah, are you? Why do I feel like I'm about to hear 30 minutes of the most gluck Trump suckfest I've ever heard in my entire life?
It's like sick of hearing them.
Is there a full video for that? Cute. Yeah, a little bit. I could see it. Yeah. What the fuck? I brought my dog. Apparently this is the guy on Tim's show, or was the guy on Tim's show. I brought my dog to swim in the ocean a bit today for the first time. He's never been swimming at the beach in his life. Before I lowered him down near the water, his little arms started paddling in the air. It got me to thinking about third world immigrants and rape. There is a primal instinct in all animals that teach them the things they do. Much like a dog can swim without ever being taught, a third world migrant behaves in the most primal ways by instinct. Rape, murder, criminality, these are things that are deeply embedded in the DNA of a third world migrant. Can these things be trained away? Perhaps for the truly intelligent ones who make an effort, but for your average ones, they'll resort to primal instincts every single time. The only solution to third world migration is to reduce it to zero and have no tolerance whatsoever for it. Okay. Now, maybe he tweeted this in like 2002 when he was like 16 and he was like on some crazy shit. Maybe. Oh, wait, it was 4 hours ago. Is this supposed to be like irony or anyone mocking this post supports the below? This is David Devone Bonilla. He's a 24-year-old illegal from Nicaragua. This is Leo Vando Moreno. He's a 37-year-old illegal from Mexico. The other day, I went to Coney Island in New York and felt like it was time for a bit of... This guy's last name is Manarino. Does that mean he's Italian? Weren't they saying the same things about... the one thing that we need to... God, there's so much good American history. When we're done with this J6 shit, I'm going to start chewing through all these topics. I'm not going to pick another video or another anything until we start... I just want to like write up things, working our way through all these topics. The Ellis Island immigration shit was wild. It was so much more wild than I even knew about. Like, literally mass immigrants came here with no papers, were given like mass amnesty. Everybody in the United States hated these people. They lived in enclaves and ghettos. They had the mob, the mafia, like everything else. But like, yeah, it's insane like how many parallels you could draw between and parallels and even worse in terms of like how these people acted initially when they got here, but like nobody even thinks about it anymore. Like, Jesus, whatever, don't care. Okay. Jesus Christ. This is an insane tweet. This is actually an insane tweet. By the way, this guy, not too radical for Tim Pool's show. Me, too radical for Tim Pool's show, okay? Also, yes, I'm aware. Apparently this guy was faking, Jesus. I'm a true black American woman. I've been black all my life. I was born black and I will die black. My mommy black. But the thing is, I never know if these things are trolls or not. But he deleted it. Who the knows? I dropped some glass and stepped on it accidentally. The cut was extremely deep and bleeding everywhere. I had to be carried out of the car. Her toe might get amputated. So it means the artery wasn't cut. Are there arteries in your toes? There must be, right? There must be a vein and artery in like every phalange and everything else. And tarsal? What do you call your fingers and toes? What's the fancy name for them? Like capillaries wouldn't deliver blood to an entire digit or whatever, right? Branches of anterior tibial artery. Okay, there you go. I hope that helped. God, if you ever stop and think, our bodies are so f***ing cool. Holy shit, they do so many things. There's so much stuff going on at all points in time to make sure you're alive and can move around and can fight disease.
It's crazy what's going on.
Can have thoughts, interact with other people, perceive your environment. There's so much crazy shit. Okay. All party voter registration changes November 2020 to July 2024. Every state plus county can be found on the drive. Republicans purged a bunch of voters. How big a deal is this? Pennsylvania voters are 15 days before election to vote. Oof. I don't know how often it is, people. Okay, listen, this is a heuristic. No, this isn't a heuristic. This is epistemically valid. I do this every time. You should do this every time, okay? Whenever somebody says something bad is happening, especially when it's against a side that you're primed to not like, so I'm primed to not like Republicans, voter purging seems like it could be a bad thing, could be an okay thing. The first question you always have to ask in your mind before you immediately jump and say, this is horrible, this is terrible, this is bad, is how common is this, right? Because it might be, what if they purge the voter rolls every 4 years? I don't think they do. What if it's every 8 years or every 12 years? And this is like when it's up for it. So I don't know if this is bad or not. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. Who knows? That's what I would say. How can people deregister you from voting? What would be the justification? My guess is going to be maybe you're worried that a bunch of people might still be on the voter rolls that have like moved or something and they shouldn't be, and it just hasn't updated, maybe. Wait. Hold on. Wait, hold on. Wait a second, though. Also, these are numbers that were put in here by another person. They are saying there's a Google Drive here. Wait, hold on. One thing I'm seeing, though, that's just like a little strange is why does it look like so many more Democrats got dumped than Republicans? Am I crazy in seeing that? So, like, I'm looking at Pennsylvania. 330,000 Democrats got dropped and 1,500 Republicans? Why? Or North Carolina, 220,000 Democrats got dropped, but 36,000 Republicans got added? Kentucky, 165 dropped, 59 Republicans added? Florida, 979,000 dropped, 151,000 added? Wait, what's happening here? The total change at the bottom is minus 3.6 million Dem plus 400K plus 400K Republicans. However, this doesn't include every state, right? Is this what, like 20? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, it's more than that. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 18, 19, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30. There are only 30 states listed here. I don't know if the other 20 would change. I assume it's people moving. I could understand that, and I could even see there being differences in terms of who moves how. However, there'd be a couple things that I would say. One is I would expect to see then, if people are moving out of one state into another, I would expect to see the totals pick up in another state, number one, unless they're in a state that doesn't count like party registrations. And two, would I really expect the people moving to be this disproportionate? I guess it's possible, but... Also, three, if it was Dems that moved more, wouldn't I also expect them to be moving into states? Wait, what is happening here? Hold on, retweet this. I'm curious. Nearly 1 million registered voters have been dropped from Florida's active voter rolls since last year, with Democrats and voters with no party affiliation accounting for 90% of the departed. You've gone over how hard it'd be to steal an election. All the info on how 20 wasn't a stolen election makes sense. You don't humor the thought media might lie. Thoughts on Bernie's failure in the DNC at 16 and 20, despite his massive appeal and turnout. What the media does is, this is what you probably do when you're in the media, and this is probably why people feel like the media lies. I think that the media looks for what it thinks the public wants to hear, and the media amplifies those stories, okay? That's what the media does. So if you're a part of the audience that the media doesn't think represents the mainstream audience or what the audience wants to hear, then you're going to feel neglected. However, there was a moment in time, and I harped on this a lot when it happened, there was a moment in time when Bernie either did really well at a debate or he started, I think it was in 2020, I think there were still a lot of candidates in the primaries, and Bernie might have had a plurality of the support for a brief moment in time. And when that happened, the whole tune of like the Democratic media started to shift. You started to see a couple guys there were a couple unhinged comments. What was the, there was the one guy comparing Bernie to Hitler. Was it on MSNBC? Who was it?
Bernie Sanders has easily won the Nevada caucus on Saturday.
1940 history.
There was this
equating Bernie Sanders' win in Nevada to the Nazi invasion of France.
I was reading last night, Brian, I know you're a history guy too. I'm reading last night about the fall of France in the summer of 1940. And the general, Renault, calls up Churchill and says, it's over. And Churchill said, how can it be? You got the greatest army in Europe. How can it be over? He said, it's over. So I had that suppressed feeling. I can't be as wild as Carville, but he is damn smart. And I think he's damn right on this one. Joy.
The number of times...
He got a lot of pushback for that. But the media's tune started to change a little bit when Bernie started to pick up. It was after this caucus. I think this is the first time. I think the Real Clear polling people... Let me see if I can find this. RCP average 2020 Democrat primaries. Like, the media will just amplify whatever it thinks the people want to hear. I think that's more or less what it does. I don't think that the media tries to pick winners. I think that they pick who they think is going to be the winner, and then they do that. When was the Nevada caucus? Yeah, Bernie had a huge thing here. And then this is when, famously, who quote tweeted me? Was it Mike from PA? When he was like, yeah, Destiny. When all three centrist candidates drop out and merge into one super candidate, then we'll be worried about Bernie losing his lead. Oof, 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 oof. Not to be that guy, but what do you mean when you say the media here? The mainstream, like, left media. I'm talking like CNN, MSNBC, and there's one more big one. Who is it? CNN, MSNBC, and I don't watch any mainstream media anymore. Who? Wait, or is that CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News? Is there another big CBS? Who the fuck watches? Maybe it's just us two. ABC. Is ABC considered anywhere near the same vein of like kind of like Democratic establishment as CNN or MSNBC? I feel like it's just those two, huh? What do you think of the fact that Bernie wasn't popular enough to get the nomination, but Kamala voted with him 95% of the time? Wouldn't this mean if Bernie had a different image, policy doesn't matter? Well, Bernie can only vote on the things that are brought to the floor. Bernie's policies that he would bring to the floor would be a lot more extreme, right? Israeli Apache intercepts a drone, Israel-Lebanon border. Wow, amazing footage. Thank you. I'd rather see Arma footage. Do you think there's an argument to be made for nationalizing media to be owned by the state/federal government, since private media can be too cucked to tell people what they want to hear? I think there's a strong argument. I feel like every country should have a strong state-funded media. Maybe not state-directed. I think state-directed is too much. I don't like state-directed media. So like RT, I'm not a big fan of. But like the BBC, I think is good. I'm seeing the United States, we have like PBS, but I feel like PBS doesn't do much. The frontline stuff is cool, but they're just not as big of a name in news. People say NPR, but I feel like, doesn't NPR have to fundraise for most of their money? Or am I just traumatized in school from the one girl that used to drive me to listen to NPR, and I feel like every single day we drove to school, they were always doing another NPR fundraiser. Am I rich enough to afford an Apache? If I had to guess for an Apache helicopter, my guess is they would cost $40 million. And my guess is to fully load it out is probably another $5 to $10 million. Let's check. How much does Apache helicopter cost? $52 million. How much does it cost to fully arm an Apache helicopter? Am I going to be able to find this? Apache attack helicopters and weapons, $930 million. What the fuck is this? Wait, $1 billion? This can't be right. This must be for the Okay, this was 930 million for 6 of them. That still seems really expensive. Holy shit. You have to think about fuel and maintenance as well. Sure, I don't know anything about maintaining an Apache helicopter. Look up cost per hour of flight time. Even for ordinary helicopters, isn't the cost per hour of flight time like $1,000? It's like retarded, isn't it? What is the DNC? Is it a government-affiliated thing or just some private circle jerk convention? Why does it matter if they didn't vote on Kamala? The DNC stands for the Democratic National Committee? People use that and convention interchangeably. I'm not actually sure. One second, let me check. Because the RNC is the RNC is the Republican National Committee. Is there a DNC like the convention that's run by the DNC, the committee? Or is it all just called the... Hold on, let me check. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. It is the Democratic National Committee as well. And then they hold the DNC, which is the Democratic National Convention. And then I think that for the Republicans, I think it's the same thing. They hold the Republican National Convention as well. But this is just a private, it's a political party in the United States. But our political parties are private. They're not like part of the Constitution or laws or anything. Although I imagine it's probably similar in other countries as well. It's not like your political parties are like parties by law or something, right? Like, yeah. If it's a private thing, then why are conservatives so mad that they didn't vote for Kamala? I don't understand. Don't look at it too closely. Republicans are kind of like the Dark Knight Rises. Like, they're really fucking cool, I guess. But if you look at it too closely, none of it actually makes sense. That's generally all the Republican talking points. Yeah, none of it really makes sense. You're just not supposed to think about it.